Emma's eyes snapped open. Something wasn't right. She could feel it before she could even see it, the kind of wrongness that settles deep in your bones, that makes your skin prickle before your mind catches up. The air was thick, heavy. The scent of dust and something metallic lingered in her nose. Her head ached, a dull pulsing pain that made her wince as she tried to move. But the moment she shifted, she realized something else. She wasn't in her bed. The surface beneath her wasn't soft. It was wood, hard, cold, rough against her fingertips. Her stomach twisted. Where was she? Emma forced herself up, her limbs sluggish and unsteady, like she hadn't moved in hours or days. Her eyes adjusted slowly, shadows giving way to the dim glow of a single flickering bulb overhead. And that's when she saw them, the walls, covered in photographs, hundreds of them, some old, their edges curling and yellowed with time, others fresh, glossy, newly printed. Faces, so many faces, some smiling, some crying, some staring blankly ahead, eyes hollow and lifeless. Her pulse hammered. She stood, knees wobbling, heart racing as she took a slow, hesitant step forward. She had to get closer, had to understand what she was looking at, and then she saw her own face, right in the center, a newspaper clipping taped to the wall. Missing Emma Carter, last seen 3 days ago. Her breath hitched. 3 days? That wasn't possible. She had just been where? A sharp, mechanical beep shattered the silence. Emma spun around. On a small wooden table in the middle of the room, a cassette recorder sat humming, its tape spinning. Next to it, an old clock, its hands frozen at 12 o'clock, and beneath it, a countdown timer, 59:58, 59:57, 59:56. Emma's stomach clenched. Then a voice, calm, slow, almost gentle. "Emma, wake up. Time is running out." Her skin prickled, and then bang! The door rattled violently. Emma's breath caught in her throat. The doorknob twisted, once, twice, hard. Someone was trying to get in. Then silence, heavy, unbearable. And then a whisper, right on the other side of the door. "Emma, let me in." Her stomach twisted, because the voice wasn't just familiar, it was hers. Software, raspy, like she'd been crying for hours. Emma stepped back, her hands shaking. Her pulse was pounding so loud she could hear it in her ears. "No," she whispered. The doorknob twisted again, more forcefully this time. Emma turned, her eyes darting to the only other way out, a small, dusty window. If she could just... She froze, because there was something in the reflection, a shape, standing right behind her. Emma spun around. Nothing was there. Her breath came fast and uneven, but she could feel it, the presence, watching her. Then, "You shouldn't have woken up, Emma." The voice was closer now. Emma turned. The lights went out. Total darkness. She sucked in a sharp breath, her fingers stretching out blindly, desperate to feel for something, anything. And then a hand, cold, thin, wrapping around her wrist. Emma tried to scream, but before she could, a sharp pain exploded in her skull, and everything went black. She woke up to whispers, faint, distant, just on the edge of hearing. Her head throbbed, her body ached. She wasn't on the floor anymore. She was sitting, no, strapped, her arms and legs bound to something solid, a chair. The whispers grew louder. Emma tried to move, tried to yank her hands free, but the restraints held tight. Then, light, a dim, flickering bulb overhead. She was in a different room, smaller. The walls were covered in mirrors. Not photographs this time, mirrors. and every single one showed something different. In one, she saw herself as a child, sitting on the floor, playing with a doll. In another, she saw herself now, tied to the chair, looking desperate and terrified. But the mirror directly in front of her, that one made her blood run cold, because in that mirror, she wasn't alone. A shadow stood behind her, tall, thin, fingers long and claw-like, its head tilted slightly, almost curious. And the worst part, it had her face, but distorted, wrong, a twisted version of herself, grinning widely, eyes black as voids. Emma's breath came in shallow gasps. The thing in the mirror raised a hand, and then it reached through the glass. Emma screamed. She thrashed, yanking at her restraints with everything she had. The chair creaked under her weight. The thing's fingers stretched toward her, inches away, and then everything stopped. The whispers cut off. The mirrors shattered, and the only thing left was silence. Then a tick, a pause, a tock. That same slow, broken clock. Emma's breath hitched, and then the voice, her voice, spoke again. "Welcome back, Emma." The lights flickered. She realized she wasn't alone anymore. The mirrors were gone, but the presence remained. Emma's breathing came in sharp, shallow gasps. Her wrists burned from struggling against the restraints, but her body refused to stop fighting. She had to get out. The air around her felt thick, too thick, like it was pressing against her skin. A pressure that made her stomach churn and her thoughts feel muddy. Then, click, a sound from behind her, not loud, but deliberate, like a lock being undone. Emma's entire body tensed. She tried to turn her head, but before she could, the restraints snapped open. Her arms fell forward, aching from how tightly they'd been bound. Her legs were free, and yet she didn't move because something was wrong. Her instincts screamed at her. A deep, primal part of her brain told her not to turn around. Don't look, don't acknowledge it. But that was impossible. Slowly, carefully, Emma turned, and what she saw was nothing. The room behind her was empty. No door, no furniture, just a void of endless consumed darkness. Emma's breath hitched. She reached out just an inch toward the blackness. Her fingertips barely brushed the edge, and the darkness moved. Emma jerked back, her heart pounding. It wasn't empty. It was watching her. She stumbled to her feet, her legs unsteady, muscles burning from the tension. She had to get out, had to find a way. Then from the shadows, a voice whispered, "Run!" Emma didn't hesitate. She bolted. Her bare feet slapped against the cold floor as she sprinted toward... What? There was no door, no exit, just endless space. But then the walls shifted. The darkness parted, revealing a hallway. Emma didn't stop to question it. She ran, pushing forward with everything she had, lungs burning, legs aching. The hallway stretched impossibly long. Shadows clung to the edges, moving like they were alive. And then, footsteps behind her, heavy, slow, deliberate, not running, just following. Emma didn't dare look back. The air grew colder. The walls seemed to narrow. The further she ran, the smaller the space became, until she was nearly crawling. The footsteps never changed pace, always behind her, never hurrying, as if they knew she had nowhere to go. Then, a door, small, wooden, old. Emma lunged for it. Her fingers barely brushed. The handle when a hand grabbed her ankle, cold, bone-thin, fingers too long. Emma screamed and kicked wildly, her foot connecting with something solid. The grip loosened just enough. She threw herself forward, shoved the door open, and fell, not onto the floor, but into water, ice cold. Emma gasped, the shock stealing the breath from her lungs. She kicked upward, breaking the surface, choking, gasping for air. And then she heard the clock. Tick, tock. The sound was everywhere. Emma's head snapped up, and she realized she was no longer in the hallway. She was in a lake, surrounded by fog. The water stretched endlessly in every direction. No shore, no escape, and worse, she wasn't alone. Figures stood in the water, half submerged, motionless, their faces hidden beneath the surface, their arms floating, still, like corpses. Emma's entire body locked up. The water felt thicker now, pulling at her. Something brushed her leg. She yanked it away. Then, one of the figures moved. A head broke the surface, gasping. A woman, pale, gaunt, eyes sunken and hollow. Emma's stomach twisted, because she recognized her. It was Hannah Bennett, the girl who went missing last year, the girl they never found, the girl who, according to the news, vanished without a trace. Hannah's lips parted as if to speak, but before she could, something dragged her back under. Emma screamed. The water exploded with movement. The other figures were rising, some clawing at the air, some reaching for her. She kicked, fought, desperate to escape. And then a hand grabbed her wrist, yanked her down. Emma's scream was swallowed by the water, and just before she blacked out, she heard the voice again. "Time's up, Emma." Then, nothing. She woke up on the floor, back in the room with the photographs, the same flickering light, the same countdown timer, 001, 000. The numbers flashed. Emma's breath came in harsh, uneven gasps. She wasn't wet, she wasn't drowning, but she remembered everything. The lake, the figures, Hannah, and then the photographs on the wall changed. They shifted one by one until a new picture appeared in the center, a fresh missing persons report. Her stomach dropped. Her blood ran cold, because this time, it wasn't her face on the paper. It was someone else's, someone she knew, her best friend, Rachel, and beneath it, a date, tomorrow. The meaning sank in, a realization so terrifying, so impossible, that Emma could barely breathe. She hadn't escaped. She had simply been chosen. And now it was Rachel's turn. The flickering bulb dimmed. The door creaked open on its own, and Emma knew. She had one night to stop what was coming, or Rachel would disappear, just like she had, just like all of them. Emma stared at the photograph, her pulse pounding in her ears. Rachel, her best friend, her name, her face, stamped on a missing persons report, a report that hadn't even been filed yet. Tomorrow. That was the date. Her mind reeled. How? Why? Was this a warning? A prophecy? Or was it a promise? She sucked in a breath, forcing herself to think. If this thing was real, if this was happening, then there had to be a way to stop it. But how? The door behind her creaked, slow, taunting. Something wanted her to step through, and maybe that was the worst part. She wasn't trapped. She was being invited. But invited to what? Emma clenched her fists. Whatever this was, whatever game she'd been thrown into, she wasn't about to let Rachel become the next victim. She turned, stepped toward the door, and walked through. What would you do if you knew someone was about to disappear? Not in a way you could explain, not in a way that made sense, but you knew. Would you tell them? Would you beg them to stay inside? Or would you run? Would you run as far and as fast as you could, before the darkness came for you too? Because that's the question Emma faced now, and the answer was terrifying. She was back in the city, but something was wrong. The streets looked the same. The buildings stood where they always had, and yet it felt off. The sky was too dark, not like night, but like something was pressing down on it. The streetlights flickered, the air was thick with a low humming sound, and the people. Emma's stomach twisted. There were no people. The city was empty, silent, like the whole world had been paused. A car sat at a stoplight, engine still running. A bus was parked mid-turn as if the driver had just vanished. Doors were open, lights still on inside restaurants, coffee shops, apartments. But there was no one, no footsteps, no voices, no life. Emma's fingers dug into her arms. This wasn't a city anymore, it was a graveyard. Then a sound, sharp, a breath. Emma spun, heart hammering. A shadow stood at the edge of the street, tall, still, watching. And the moment she met its gaze, it moved, not with steps, but with silence. 1 second it was across the street, the next it was closer, then closer. The light above it flickered, and for the first time, Emma saw its face. Or rather, she didn't, because where a face should have been, there was only a void, a space where something should exist, but didn't. And when it opened its mouth, Emma heard Rachel's voice. "Emma, help me." Her blood turned to ice. Rachel, somehow, some way, Rachel was already here. Was she trapped, calling from somewhere beyond? Or was this just a trick? Emma took a slow step back, her pulse slamming against her ribs. And the figure grinned, a grin with no mouth, a grin that said, "Run!" So Emma did. She turned and sprinted down the empty street, the wind screaming past her ears. She didn't look back. She didn't have to, because she could hear it, chasing, laughing, whispering Rachel's name. And then the city shifted, the streets bent, buildings twisting like melted wax. The road beneath her feet stretched, became longer, endless. She wasn't running forward anymore. She was running nowhere, trapped in a loop, just like them, just like all of them. Her breath hitched. This wasn't about Rachel. This was about everyone who had ever disappeared. They weren't missing. They were here, lost in a place between time, a place where the clock never moved, where the streets were frozen, where the whispers of the vanished never truly faded. And now Emma had joined them. Her knees buckled, her chest ached. Was this it? Had she already lost? Then a voice, not from the darkness, not from the shadow, but from herself. Time's not up yet. Her own voice echoing, coming from somewhere deep inside her, and suddenly the city cracked. Emma gasped. The building shuddered, the air split, and in that moment, she saw it. The exit, a single door, standing alone in the middle of the street, waiting. The shadows screamed. The world shook. Emma ran, and just as the darkness lunged for her, she jumped, and everything went white. Emma hit the ground, coughing, gasping for breath. The city was gone. The shadow was gone. She was in her room, her actual room, but something was different. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Rachel. "Hey, weird question, but have you ever felt like someone's watching you?" Emma's stomach dropped. She looked at her clock. It was midnight. Tomorrow had begun, and whatever had tried to take her was coming for Rachel next. Emma's fingers trembled as she read the message again. "Hey, weird question, but have you ever felt like someone's watching you?" Her chest tightened. Rachel was still here, still safe. But for how long? Emma's mind raced. She could pretend this was a coincidence. She could ignore the pounding fear in her gut and tell herself it was all just some kind of dream. But she knew better. She'd seen it, felt it. That thing, The shadow with no face, it wasn't done. And now it was coming for Rachel. She had two choices: pretend none of this happened, go back to her normal life, forget, fight. Emma exhaled shakily. There was no choice. She had one night to stop whatever this was before Rachel vanished like all the others. She grabbed her phone and typed back, "Where are you?" The response came instantly, "Home." Why? Emma swallowed. She couldn't tell her the truth, not yet. "I just had a bad feeling. Stay inside, okay? Don't go anywhere alone." Rachel's reply came after a long pause. "You're scaring me. Did something happen?" Emma hesitated, then typed, "Just trust me. Promise me you won't go anywhere tonight." Another pause. Then, "Okay, I promise." Emma exhaled, pressing her forehead against the cold window pane. Outside, the world looked normal, quiet, but she knew better. The clock was ticking, and midnight had only just begun. The signs. Emma didn't sleep. She couldn't. Every noise outside made her flinch. Every shadow in the room felt wrong. She kept staring at her phone, waiting for something. At 2:37 a.m., her screen lit up again. Rachel. Emma's stomach knotted. She picked up. "Rachel?" she whispered. Silence. Then breathing, ragged, uneven. Then a sound, a scrape, like nails against metal. Emma sat up, heart pounding. "Rachel, are you okay?" More breathing, and then a whisper, software, garbled, not Rachel's voice. "It's already inside." The call cut. Emma stared at the phone, blood running ice cold. Number. She hit redial. Nothing. Again, straight to voicemail. Her pulse slammed in her ears. Rachel had promised she wouldn't go anywhere. She had promised. So why did Emma have the horrible feeling that she just lost her anyway? Don't let the fear fade. Stay hooked on the thrill. Subscribe to this channel today for more heart-pounding content. Watch if you dare.